I decided to put this idea into action. I began with a basic white girl opening, but I was able to line up my queen and bishop here, preparing to attack my opponent's king. After my opponent castled, I brought out my other bishop, and now his rook was basically trapped. After I completely violated his rook, I had an amazing attack on my opponent's king with a chance to get a brilliancy. This might be a brilliancy. This might be. Maybe. If my opponent now took my bishop with his knight, all I had to do was move my knight here, and that would be a bishop sacrifice for a checkmate. Undoubtedly a brilliant move. Unfortunately, my opponent saw this plan, but after a few more moves, I had the opportunity again. Except this time, there was no way this could be defended. All I had to do was go queen g1. The only move for white is to take with their knight, and then I move my knight here for the checkmate. This was my moment I had been training for. This was what all this had led up to. This was the I'm legally blind and I did not see that brilliant move. I want to jump off a bridge. It's okay though, because I didn't get a blunder that game anyway, so it didn't really matter. I was making a lot of progress though. I now knew what I needed to do in order to get myself a brilliant move. The next step though might be a little bit more difficult. I had to figure out a way of getting a brilliant move consistently so that this wouldn't take 57 years to complete. So the next game, I put this into action. I would sacrifice my pieces as much as possible in hopes to get a brilliant move. This way I would either get a bunch of brilliancies or just blunder my queen. Oh, I blundered my queen. Okay then. Even though this plan was pretty risky and definitely not a good idea at all, I still stuck with it anyway. And maybe I was a little too excited to sacrifice my pieces because a few games later I did this. I sacrificed my entire rook for the greater good of humanity, and this was not a brilliant move. It was in fact just a blunder. However, this was the only plan I could think of to try to get a brilliancy. So a few games later, I began by blundering a pawn to the opening, and later into the game, I sacrificed my bishop in hopes of getting an attack along this file. I ended up getting my rook over there, and now I just needed to come up with a plan to get a brilliant sacrifice here. Whoops, I blundered my queen again, and also my rook, and got 0 brilliancies. Things were definitely not going well, and I thought maybe I just needed to play games normally, and let a brilliant move grow organically just as nature intended it. So the next game I began with my basic opening, not trying to force any sacrifices and just kind of playing normally. Nothing too crazy was happening until I saw a masterful scheme to backrank checkmate my opponent. I didn't sacrifice anything, but I thought maybe I might get a brilliant move here. I barely won that game, and when I checked the analysis, I saw this. Oh, we got everything besides the brilliant. Okay, we just need to do the same exact thing except get a brilliant. Letting a brilliant move happen organically was definitely not the answer. I needed to sacrifice something early on in the opening to force a brilliant move, then play out the game for a long time so that I would have a much higher chance of getting all these other moves. And with that plan in mind, I loaded into this game where I played the England Gambit, already planning on playing the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Gambit, which guarantees a brilliancy. And if you don't know what that opening is, well, you're about to see it. My opponent did not take my pawn on d6, which they normally do, but I wasn't giving up this easily. A few moves later, I saw my opportunity to launch my Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. I took on e5, opening up my queen. Now all I needed to do was get rid of this knight from defending that queen. And that's all I needed. Brilliant moment, guys. Brilliant moment. Oh my goodness gracious. He takes with his king, we take his queen. Free real estate, as they say in my continent. Okay. That has to be a brilliant, I think. So let's just try to get all the other moves, eh? I sacrificed my bishop, an undoubtedly brilliant move, and now the king has no option but to take it, giving me this completely free queen. This was definitely 100% money back guarantee a brilliant move. So now I just needed to get all these other moves, which I thought would be pretty easy. I'm not sure if we've got a blunder yet, so let's just blunder a queen just to be safe. It feels weird to say that, but I mean, I have to do it. Okay, we got the win. Let's see if we got all the moves. I mean, I had to have a brilliant there, I think. I believed I had made every single move and gotten the achievement, but after looking at the analysis... What? I had 2 brilliant moves, but no mistakes and no... like... I had gotten not 1, but 2 certifiable USD first edition brilliant moves, but no blunders and no mistakes. I literally blundered my queen on purpose. How is that even possible? I have no idea. But what I do know is that I made this community post, and when we reach 50k subscribers, I'm doing whatever the top comment on that post says. We're super close to 50,000, so if everyone watching this subscribes, we'll get there in like a day at most. This might be either really good or really bad, but back to the video. Now I had figured out a way of basically guaranteeing myself a brilliant move. It might be rare to actually get this opening, but I knew that I was super close. All I needed to do was just do the exact same thing, except play a little bit worse at the end. I tried to do that in this game, but lost, and got everything besides a brilliant move. I got everything besides a brilliant, okay. I made 10 mistakes, that's not healthy. The next game, the same exact thing happened.
I got every move besides a brilliant. How did I only get one book move?
Depression was closing in, but in just the next game, this happened. Okay, we're getting it here no matter what the cost, right? I started with a very basic opening, except me being desperate for a brilliant move, I did this. Okay.